News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
An elderly Basin, Montana man is sentenced for crimes against the EPA. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning for Thursday, July 21st, 2016. The sky again filled with those, my favorite, wispy clouds. We've got 54 degrees in Missoula right now. Our newscast this morning sponsored by Spray Green Lawn, providing lawn aeration services, fertilization, and weed control. Save 15% off your first application. Mention this message. Call 207-9273. 77-year-old Joseph David Robertson of Basin, Montana, was sentenced in U.S. District Court in Missoula to 18 months in prison and 3 years of supervised release before Judge Donald Malloy yesterday. He was also ordered to pay nearly $130,000 in restitution. U.S. Attorney for the state of Montana, Mike Cotter, explains.
He was convicted by a jury a few months ago, and he was sentenced today by Judge Malloy. And the thing of it is, what Robertson was doing was damaging federal lands that actually the government holds in trust for the people of the United States.
Cotter detailed the reasons behind the government's continued prosecution of Robertson.
What happened by Mr. Robinson, it wasn't just a little bit of dirt that was being dumped into a small stream. It was actually a series of ponds that he built with a backhoe and a caterpillar or a cat, and was damaging not only the federal lands that he was operating on, but it has a downstream impact.
Protesters outside the courthouse maintained that Robertson was being persecuted by the federal government. There were several protesting peacefully on the sidewalk, holding American flags and signs indicating their support for Robertson. A federal judge has dismissed a lawsuit seeking to stop a logging project in the Kootenai National Forest in northwestern Montana. The Alliance for the Wild Rockies had argued in its lawsuit filed in May of last year that logging on more than 92,000 acres on the east side of Lake Kootenai violates environmental laws and could harm bull trout, grizzly bear, and lynx habitat. U.S. District Judge Dana Christensen earlier this week granted the U.S. Forest Service's request to dismiss that lawsuit. Christensen said in his order that none of the environmental organization's claims warrants blocking the project. The East Reservoir Project, plan approved by the Forest Service, calls for logging almost 9,000 acres spread out across a larger area about 15 miles east of Libby. A man was stabbed twice in the parking lot of Southgate Mall late Tuesday evening. Police Public Information Officer Travis Welch explains what police found when they arrived at the scene.
They met with a male who had suffered what appeared to be a stab wound to the top of his shoulder and also to the thumb on the same side. He related an account of walking over to the mall, and as he was going through the parking lot, he saw an ex-girlfriend sitting in a vehicle in the lot.
Apparently, the woman stabbed the man, and the situation ended with charges of partner assault or assault with a weapon. But there were other issues that complicated the situation.
She, at some point, claimed that she was suicidal, and she was in possession of a knife and began to cut herself while he stood there. He reported that to prevent her from hurting herself, he grabbed her arm. However, she was able to get free after she sliced his thumb, and when he released his grip, she apparently lunged at him and stabbed him with a knife in the shoulder.
Welch said the woman was taken to a local hospital for a mental evaluation before she went to the Missoula County Jail, being placed on $50,000 bond. Despite being stabbed, the man refused medical treatment at a local hospital. A teachers' union has filed an unfair labor practices complaint against the Lockwood Schools District in Billings over the elimination of 10 paraprofessional positions back in May. The complaint filed this week with the Montana Department of Labor disputes district officials' contentions that the cuts were forced because of budget constraints. In the complaint, the Lockwood Paraprofessionals Association cites about $86,000 in raises given to administrators and maintenance or custodial staff and other costs. Teachers Union field consultant Scott McCullough told the Billings Gazette the raises indicate to him the district is not in financial trouble. Lockwood Superintendent Tovin Navasio said he hadn't seen the complaint, but he says most of the administrative and custodial raises were the result of restructuring after an employer retired that has saved the district money. Missoula County Fairgrounds Director Todd Garrett announced Tuesday he's stepping down from his position for personal reasons at the end of the Western Montana Fair this year. Missoula County Emergency Services Coordinator Chris Lounsbury explains.
The fair takes on an incredible amount of energy and time to put on, starting way back early in January as we begin planning for it, and then getting everything ready usually takes several weeks in July and most of August to put together and pull off, and he's just wanting to take more time with his family over the summers now that his kids are getting old and just kind of maximize his availability with them as well.
He's the chief operating officer. Resignation aside, Lounsbury says the fair is wrapping up a public comment period next Wednesday on proposed changes, including a new livestock building and a new exhibit building.
Then a couple of weeks after that, after they've had a chance to go through all the public comment, they'll meet with the architects and kind of potentially propose any changes that they would like to see in the plan, and then that plan will come back to them once the architects have had a chance to work on it, and then hopefully they'll vote to adopt that plan, and we'll begin the process of implementing it.
Lounsbury says Garrett will remain in his position until August 19th, providing assistance during the week of the Western Montana Fair. Authorities are investigating whether a fire that burned more than a square mile of farmland north of Great Falls was arson caused. Vaughan Volunteer Fire Department Chief Jason McAllister told the Great Falls Tribune the fire is suspicious and under investigation. The fire was reported Tuesday. Gusting winds spread it quickly through wheat and hay fields before it was finally contained that night. Montana's a popular state with more people moving here than leaving. However, according to Montana Bureau of Business and Economic Research economist Bryce Ward, there's one group that doesn't seem to follow that trend.
We found that, Montana's a popular place and most everybody wants to come here, or all types of people want to come here. There's one group that has a negative net migration rate, and that's people with a college degree under age 35. So that's who, for whatever reason, isn't finding Montana to be an attractive place.
Ward says low wages appear to be the biggest factor in the disappearance of college graduate workers.
When we talk about why do people move to a place, usually we talk about three things. We talk about the quality of the jobs that are available, the cost of living, and then everything else gets lumped into quality of life. Cost of living, Montana isn't particularly expensive, and quality of life, Montana is famous for. That leaves us with the kind of the wages and the jobs, and it turns out that wages for college graduates in Montana are the lowest or among the lowest of all states.
Ward says college graduates often have to take, on average, about a 15% cut in pay just to choose to live in Montana. Our News Talk time now, 6:12.
News Talk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Ample sunshine today with our high temperatures in the mid-90s. Mostly clear tonight with our lows in the upper 50s. A few showers and thunderstorms will be possible Friday with our highs in the mid-80s. I'm meteorologist Brooke Foster for Missoula's KECI 13.